Hello, friends. How are you today? How do we handle sudden events that happen to or involve someone in our lives? I'd like to talk through that with you and show you examples of how this affects us energetically and how you can make choices that improve your ability to handle the ramifications of the news, the effect on you, the effect on your life, in a way that blesses yourself, that makes you more effective, and that is more helpful to anyone else involved, okay? So this happened to me in the last couple days, and I just thought I would do some drawings for you. So essentially, here's what I want to show you. Here you are, and you're going about your day, and you are centered, you're feeling good, and you get sudden news involving, someone you love, a friend, someone peripheral, but where there could be, in the great scheme of energy, there could be ripples back, okay, to your life. And maybe, these are people you care about, or what happens to them will affect you, where you feel that you have a stake in what's going on, but the events weren't really about you, And this is tough because it can affect our attitude. It can affect, it can bring us down. It can put us into even a depression of sorts. And so, and the mind, okay, starts generating all of these what if this, what if that, starts generating all of this information, which may or may not be true, may or may not be accurate, may or may not be helpful to you or anyone else involved. And so here's how I go about handling this, because I've learned something important in my life. And what I've learned that's important, in my view, is I don't know what's good for everyone else. And, sometimes I don't even know what's good for myself, okay? There are times when I just know that I've just got to give this decision to God, wait for the signs and answers, sit with it internally, because my mind cannot come up with a solution. And this technique I'm going to share with you, in my view, it works really well, and it's really helped me, okay? And in fact, I was able to completely recenter myself, in one of the instances, like within minutes, okay? And then knowing I would do the rest of it when I got on my own. But anyway, so what happens is that when this happens, okay, there's an offer from the situation, others, your thoughts about it, your emotions about it, okay? It could be just all about you. It could be that you're engaging with someone in the moment. So, but anyway, the point is that these are essentially an offer to get into your energy, to engage with your field. And you could create that within yourself. Do I need to change my energy, however that is, as I think or feel, how I think or feel about this? Or it could also be that someone else is interacting with you, and you have to manage your own emotions and thoughts while also responding to what is going on. Okay, so here's what the offer is. And, many times, I've been through this, many times in practice now, so I'm getting much better at it. But essentially, here's what happens, okay? Basically, so this situation activates something in our own field, okay? It can ping you back to a past event with that person or people group. It can ping you back to unrelated, seemingly trauma, where you react instinctively. And then when we react instinctively, okay, now we have a high likelihood of projecting outwards. And why do we do that? Because we're reacting instinctively, and it activates things like, fear response, protection, self-protection. I need to take a moment, and so I, act in a way that gives me space unconsciously, right? And that could be you could act out emotionally in a way that causes someone to give you space, or maybe you use harsh words or whatever. Anyway, I'm just saying that instead of doing that, you could take a pause. And in the moment, okay, acknowledge this is happening to me right now. This is what you use the mind and the thoughts for. You use them to help you assess the situation rather than allowing your mind to come up with a dozen random thoughts that may or may not in the moment be helpful. And so you have a choice. Do I focus on all my feelings about this situation, okay? Do I focus on all the ramifications, my thoughts, my feelings, immediately, try to influence it or say something or whatever it is? Which could be manipulation, especially if you're having shocking news and then you're responding from a deep place that you're uncertain of, maybe a little unconscious of. Yet, before hearing this news, you may have felt completely centered, okay? You may have felt really pretty good. So here's our choice. Our choice is to go into disarray, okay? Here, over this, or to make the conscious choice in the moment. I'm going to pause, and I intend, no matter how I'm feeling or thinking, everything going through my mind right now, I intend to recenter and reconnect with the divinity within me, right? That is my highest guidance for myself, my highest outcomes, my highest good. And in the moment when you're in a shocking situation, right, the idea of immediately returning to a centered state where I'm fully connected in the center with the divinity that I am, that's a little bit, it can be tough. So you can intend this. And so after much practice over the last, over a dozen years that I've been really working on this every day, what I have found is that immediately, if I observe the shifts in my field, any shift that occurs dramatically in my field, in my thoughts, emotions, and then like even the weight of my field, right? Because that's what like a depression can be about. It can feel very weighty on you. And so what I do is I notice, right? Okay, I'm interacting with someone, something just happened because I obviously received this information or news. And my first thing is, I don't want to attach cords here. I don't want to care about outcomes. It sounds funny to say it that way, but I want to give it to God, okay? I want to stay centered. I want to trust that even though I heard information that is disturbing, that might cause me to wonder what's my thing that's going to happen here, what's my thing to do, to say, is this going to affect me over weeks or months or not? And so here's the orientation: to self-monitor and to look at what's going on, especially when you notice a sudden shift. Then the second thing is, and this is what I found is helpful, that I'm immediately having the attitude that this will turn to the highest good for this person, for me. I choose not to project in this situation. So I'm going to hold back assessment, saying that someone else should do something, any kinds of observations beyond love and support for the other person in the moment and for myself. And so what happens is, by doing that, you intend, I'm going to come from this place again, okay? And then I'm going to put that love between me and the other person. and the other person might be, in a dramatic state. Here I have the mouth of the person open, like they're saying something. But what matters is that I recenter myself, okay? Because when I recenter myself, I improve my own choices, I improve my own outcomes, I improve the interaction between me and the other person, between me and the information. And by choosing consciously not to cord to the other person, or allow them to cord to me in the moment, by choosing to retain my energy sovereignty, by choosing to say, okay, I'm going back to centeredness, that's my intention, okay, if maybe something's going on and I can't complete the internal actions and the thoughts, the process of returning to center, the thoughts lift the emotions and all of that. So here's what happened, okay? I received this news on top of the day before some other news that I had been considering, what do I do here? And so the second piece of news was more shocking. And so it really called for me I really need to, consciously choose how I want to be in the moment for me, for the other person, for everybody involved. And so what I did was I went for a walk. And as I went for a walk, okay, every time a thought came in, I said, this is what I intend, okay? Every time an emotion, there was an offer to go to build the heaviness in my field, I said, this is what I intend, okay? And so what you're doing when you're doing that is you're focusing on the divine connection in the heart with your own soul, with the divinity that you are, with your spiritual, guidance and energy. And so I just went bam, bam, every time a thought, every time an emotion, every time an offer to get depressed about the possibilities on the negative, right? Because it's easy to go to the negative and say, oh my God, what if this happens? And the more that I did this, each time I said, and I'm just using give it to God. So I'm using that to describe what I did, but it's really an energy process. So every time I felt the offer from my mind, from my own emotions, the heaviness, anything from external, okay, I impulsed my connection with the soul, my soul and my heart, and I imagined that it filled my field. And I did this not with anger at anything coming in and out or from my own thoughts and emotions, but intending love. Okay, so intending, it's cool, intending love for the other person, intending love for whatever that thought was and the outcome. And there's a real nonverbal aspect to this in terms of your attitude, okay, how you go about it. You don't need to have a lot of thoughts, but if thoughts help you, go ahead. My emotion that I was looking at was to achieve this feeling of the centered state, right? And it's a beautiful feeling of connection with the divine, with my own soul that's fully supported. And in doing this, there's a trust issue, right? There's a trust offering. Like, I'm going to trust. I trust this is going to work out for the highest good. I give it to the divine within me. Show me an answer. It doesn't have to be right now. I just want to restabilize. I want to recenter. I want to be in full relationship, right, with the divinity that I am. And boom, by the end of my walk, because I was very, I've done this many times, so I had gotten it. And not only that, but suddenly I had this positive outlook, like, oh my gosh, you know what? I really felt it. This somehow is going to turn to the highest good. Either what was, is going to come back and it's going to be a great for, everybody involved here, or something amazing, something else is going to happen that's in the highest good. And I'm okay with not having the information on that right now. I'm okay with not knowing the answers. It's all right. And the most important thing, I'm okay with my relationship with the divine within me, with my own soul, with, the energy that I am living in this human body, the being that I am with God, if you want to say it that way too. Because what I find is all of this becomes really a communion between that incredible, like blessed, divine, loving energy. That's how I perceive it. Okay, friends, if you have any questions or you want to chat about it, give me a comment down below. And much love to you. And I hope you have a super amazing, wonderful day and that this information is beneficial.